Good morning. I just got a little perplexed because there's a bunny rabbit in my neighbor's yard just chilling out there. And I know where the hell he lives at, or she lives in that bush. Sometimes these bunny rabbits just get out and just sit. I don't know what the hell they're looking for, but they're not making it into my garden for anything. So, good morning, Suburban Prepper here. And it reminds me of the time it was a year ago when there was a bunny rabbit that was in the neighborhood, and some libtard, because it was cute, okay, um, captured the bunny rabbit and asked if the bunny rabbit belonged to anybody. And I took one look at it and I said, it belongs to God, it belongs to nature. Let it go back to its owner. Let it go back to nature. And the lady commented rather Chicago-ishly or Illinois-ishly, because that's where she came from, that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about because this bunny rabbit was nice and docile. When you capture when you're a big animal and you get captured by a bunny rabbit captured, sometimes they get docile and they've given up. I mean, what was she expecting? Not all the bunny rabbits fight back. Or the bunny rabbit was sick, and that's why it's docile. So I'm sure there's somebody going for a walk this morning that's going to see that bunny rabbit and capture it and ask on Facebook if it belongs to anybody in our subdivision group. And it's good to know I don't have anybody watching right now. Because anyway, the next thing is I have a tripod for my weapons. Okay, it's a two vets Mike 40 Mike, I guess it's called tripod. Okay, and I have my new LR 300, so I was finding the right height for my eyes and for my body to shoot this thing up in the standing position, because you don't want to shoot crouching. That's what the tripod is for. You don't want to shoot slouched down. It's you have to adjust it so you're shooting in a position you're comfortable in. One way to look at it is you let the rifle come into you. You don't go into the rifle. Okay? And I took some adjustments to find what worked best for me. Excuse me. It's raining today. That's good for my garden. Yesterday I picked out my first weeds. I mean, they weren't that big, but I just wanted to get it bigger. And of course, I compost the weeds in my compost bin. And basically I have the probiotic for the soil and to break everything down. And I'm thinking of getting some worms to add to my compost bin, just to break everything down further. This little bin's open to the air. It breaks everything down. I have recycled trash can that I use as a compost bin, where I drilled a couple holes on the bottom so it's a drain. And then I have the kind of compost bin that you buy and it makes a nice big circle, goes round and round. And what I need to do is find some greens, some more greens to get. I have plenty of browns now because of the wood chipping that I did last week. I need to get some greens and add some greens to it. Ah, and so then I woke up exhausted. I don't know what the hell's wrong. I'm hungry. Well, the problem is I had some pizza yesterday that I knew I shouldn't have eaten. It was my daughter's birthday. That's what we went out for pizza. It was nice. So, good news is, made about the Supreme Court, or something's taken off. Over 2,200 views on my YouTube channel. And I was quite surprised. I didn't even notice it until last night. I had over 2,000 views last night on this video. So that, as a YouTube prepper, and the reason why I did a video about the Supreme Court is because it involved our Second Amendment rights. How Maryland bans AR-15s, and the Supreme Court said that they have the right to do that. They did not want to take up the case, basically. I can't say the other thing. Another video that I made last night, or yesterday, was a video on dry shooting in your basement. Dry shooting your rifle in your basement. Try shooting your pistol in your basement. And a couple different drills that I've researched, and one that I made up myself that I find very beneficial. And the video will be released soon once it's better. I find that when I do my intros, I really have a shitty looking personality, or I don't look like there's some, I can't fake that motivation. I have the motivation. I got to find that mojo when I do my intros. When I'm making videos, right? Prepper videos and shit, I feel inspired and I'm talking like I'm doing right now. But when I do the intro, I feel like a sad Nelly. Oh, that's a weird looking car. Is that a Mustang? I mean, I see a, I don't know, there's a green car I've never seen before. There's a stallion on the back. It can't be a Ford. It would be a Ford if it were a Mustang. But the great thing is, I'm about 10 feet, 15 feet from my different targets, and I just practice these drills, dry drills. I don't even have to depress the trigger, okay? Because I don't like depressing the trigger. There's no, you can pull the charging handle to the rear, and you can get a good trigger press. I really don't like to do that. I consider it bad luck. Yeah, I'm starting to feel better. I think I was just hungry. And I'm going to have to pull the Chicago thing here. Right. It's raining. I hope it rains all morning for my plants. So I know I'm going to have a good day, right? When I can pop my back in the morning before I get up. I got an old parachute injury from the military for my back. And I can't get it to pop yet this morning. And I don't like taking pills. So I'm probably going to put one of my salon spa patches on. And that actually helps relax the muscle. So I can do a little spinal manipulation on my spine. I hate it when people do that. It's like, can't you just... The guy's like 5 car lengths behind a truck in a zone that's 35 miles an hour. Yeah, I'm definitely hungry. I drink some water. Yeah, I feel definitely better. I was a little dry, dehydrated. Ever since I went into heart failure back in 2023 now, I don't drink the copious amounts of water that I used to. I drink enough to stay well hydrated, but just too much water is not good for your heart. Too little is not good for your kidneys. It's a balancing act. I was thinking about getting a second channel on YouTube. I'm thinking that I'm probably not going to do it because all the stuff that I put on my channel is, to me, it's directly related to being a prepper. You have to have family. You have to understand the politics, food preparation, which for me is using my solar oven cooker and my freeze dryer. My wife does some canning stuff. I don't can stuff. I'm not a canner. All that glass, all I can think about is dropping it and smashing and breaking everything. I'm not a canner. I know some people are. And of course, I love doing my medical videos. Some of my topics might be off to some people, but I'm thinking Donald Trump style, 5 steps ahead. Like, I have a video on pediatric medication, antimicrobial doses, right? That I put a lot of effort into making. And I put a lot of thought process about what antibiotics and antimicrobials I want to include. And what ones you should not give children if you're going to be ignorant. At least watch the video and learn what not to give children and why. I explain why you don't give it to them. And nobody seemed, I got like less than 20 views on it because some of these so-called hardcore preppers that you could get they can buy the antibiotics from India, right? And that's all good. I don't care. But if you're not going to prep for your children, or let's say that you prep and you have kids in your neighborhood and shit hit the fan and they're sick, you have the antibiotics. All you need, hopefully if you're smart, is a medical person that's still can prescribe antibiotics. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Learn about it. I used to just think, non-medical prescribers should just not touch antibiotics and leave it to us to decide. And then I understand if shit hit the fan, you're going to have to be a lot of things. And that's good. But cop, I'm going to slow the F down. Look at that. Some car was just, the front end of the car was smashed on this intersection. And I know why. Because it got hit by another car or something. Because people drive, the Illinois drivers, because I'm on the border of Illinois and Indiana, and the Illinois drivers, they drive like the bat out of hell kind of thing. They don't know how to take a chill, baby, chill. And I've seen this kind of rage that a lot of people have. I've seen it in some of my patients. They just have this rage about everything. And I better just leave it at that. I don't want to get myself in trouble. This is my 1 cup of coffee a day. It's iced, homemade. I don't want to spend money at the coffee place. See, there's a house I would buy. Oh my God. I would buy it. It's got a separated garage, which some people don't like. I don't care. But there's a lot of land behind it, which would make for a little. I don't know what the rule is in this town that I'm in. I think I'm in Dyer now. If I can have a little gun range in my backyard. But here's how you could deafen the sound, though. Of course, I'm a thinking man. Have the gun range where you go shoot. Have that contained indoors, okay? So the building itself would sound the bullet as it releases the relieves. When a bullet travels through the barrel outside the gun, the gunpowder goes off. That big noise. If you have that inside of a building, with the door shut, just a little crack in a window open or a window, that would decrease the decibel output considerably. But you still have some neighbors that complain. I want some land that I can just, like, I can look over here, but I don't want it in so close to other people's homes. I want it in the middle of nowhere, so I could just walk around. And if I want to waste 1,000 rounds in an hour, which is quite easy to do, I could do that. Of course, if I'm going to waste that much ammo, it's going to be with my 22 LR. So I'm still waiting on Bear Creek Arsenal to send me back a good bulk carry group for my LR 300. Still waiting. And I hope they do. I hope they send me back a decent one. I mean, they're a small company, and I get it. Sometimes shit happens. Quality control sometimes can be an issue. But if they can make it right, like, for example, there's a night vision company called ATN, and they make night vision devices, thermal optics, everything you would want. They make it for civilians, but the problem is, I guess about a decade ago now, I bought their digital night scope. Okay, just out of complete ignorance, I didn't know it was a analog. It was not an analog device. I wasn't aware what the prices were for like a third gen PVS night vision device. And you had to set up everything through the screen, and it was not. I'm not a dum dum by any means, but it was not very friendly to set up. I gave it away to a family. So they left a bad taste in my mouth. You can't refund the thing because it's not physically broken. It was just made horribly. Programming. So I'm afraid to buy ATN products. If you're buying a digital night vision device, Sightmark Wraith, their company, I have the device. I have the original Sightmark. Sightmark Wraith makes a great digital night vision device. And now they have where it's digital mixed with thermal. And I'm not buying it because, well, I don't need it. But if you're going to get a digital night vision device for your scope, that's pretty much the way to go. Now, I would wish that someone would make a digital / thermal monocular or binocular. It would be a lot cheaper than having to pay like $15,000 for a analog night vision device that has thermal in it. Or in my case, if you watch my videos, I have a clip-on thermal imager that goes in front of my Gen 3 PVS 14. And what it does is it creates a fusion of thermal and the analog night vision that you see. Sightmark, to me, they made a good product. I've never had any problem with it. It was simple to use. Understand it's still digital. You have to have an IR floodlight when you're using it. It's not meant to it's not meant to be engaged with other people that would have night vision, because that IR light that you have to have on gives away your position. But for other practical uses, if you're engaging things that don't have traditional analog night vision, or other digital night vision. Because if you have a IR area lit up, infrared, and you're somewhere else, an IR light's going to pick it up. Another IR camera is going to pick it up. There's one company called Psionics. Okay, they make a night vision, thermal night vision camera, monocular, but they don't have the thermal. I'm sorry, it's a digital night vision device. I'm starting to ramble here. I need to shut up. But from what I see, there isn't anyone that makes a decent thermal imager. Although there is one company that does it. I've got them on my prepper webpage, suburbanprepper.com, but I don't have the product. Because the problem is that at that level of what you pay for, the thermal imager is very, the pixels are very weak. And two, you've got to have a way to power it using an external battery. Because thermal and digital devices, they suck up battery power. That's why on my helmet, even on my helmet, okay, folks, I have a battery attached on my helmet. Maybe I'll go over my helmet sometime and what I do, why I do what I do. Anyway, it's just a thought process. Yeah, it's definitely raining. I'm glad I don't have to water. Wonder what would happen if I went all season without watering one time. Well, there's one watcher, it looks like, reviewer. Thank you for staying tuned. Obviously, when I'm driving, it's pretty hard to I can't look at the screen and type back or anything. So today would be a great day to go out and go gun shooting. Okay, practice when it's shitty. But no, I've got to go to work. Oh no, don't worry. Go ahead. My light's green. You can cut me off. Yeah, if I could pop my back right now, I'd feel so much better. But I can't. What's going to happen this weekend, folks? Definitely going to do my Saturday live stream at 7 p.m. Central Time. Get my updates. Maybe read a little bit from my book. One thing that I like to do that I haven't done lately is I like to go on some of the social media websites and go over what other preppers talk about on social media, because some of the shit that other people say is good ideas, and some of it is just entertainment value. Okay, and if you're on YouTube, I assume you're on other social media, although YouTube is more of a broadcast. Some of the ideas that people come up with, it's Full Metal Jacket, folks. It was up to 90 apparently by the weather yesterday, which is good because my plants need that heat. And now they're getting the wet. And I can tell what's a weed and what's a little crop when I'm in my garden. Sometimes these the little weeds are just too small to pick out. Carrots are starting to come in, and I can tell that they're carrots because they have the two little things, and they're starting to come in and grow. Little baby, they're like that big. So in a month from now, you're going to see my garden, my raised beds green, and some other colors to help. Red. With tomatoes, of course, they're not going to turn red yet. So here's what I was taught, folks, okay? Taught in that I seek the knowledge myself, is you pick your tomatoes when they're green, okay, when they're the right size and they're green. That way, once they turn red, it signals to the plant it's time to die off. Okay, folks? So I'm going to be picking, and my wife just gets pissed off when I do it, but I want to get as much yield from my garden as possible. And don't let the flowers on the potato plants, if they're starting to form a flower, you take that off, cut that, you're going to rip off that little flowering. That tells the plant that it's time to die off too. And you want that plant, you don't want it to flower, you want it to grow, so the underground where the potato is, it'll grow bigger. Is that a husband's tale? There's people that are from Maine that in my family that my dad lived on a potato farm. But I'm sure when you live on a potato farm, you're not that, you just harvest it when you do. One thing this year when I was tilling my soil, I found a couple of potatoes and sweet potatoes that were still in the soil that they were still edible. But I put them in my compost bin, and the sweet potatoes still haven't broke down yet. They're definitely a hardy plant that can last a long time. Last year, when we harvested my sweet potatoes, I think we just ran out of everything about 3 months ago from just what I planted last year. And I do have the bags to put them in. Last year, I left them in boxes, which they did fine too. Not exposed to air where it's dark. And the thing is, with the potatoes, the eyes formed and they started growing. So I just put those in the compost bin. So one thing I want to also do is I went up to my grocery store in my neighborhood and said, "Hey, do you have any decomposed fruits or vegetables that I can just get for my compost bin? They're going to charge me for it, or if they already give it to somebody." I don't know. Ooh, that was a heavy one. Does it hurt to ask? Well, the thing is, I don't like to talk to people, so yeah, it sort of does hurt to ask. I just don't like to talk to people. So one particular, but I will ask. I mean, what the hell have I got to lose? They're going to tell me to go fuck myself. Can I say that on a live stream? Because if you do something wrong on a live stream, what they'll do is cancel your channel. But anyway, no. Nobody can ever make things just easy for you. But if you don't ask, how the hell would you know? And then the other thing I want to do is the local hardware store, which they're expensive as hell, but they're there, okay? In the back, they have ripped open bottles or bags of soil and other soil-related products. And I'm wondering, is that, for people to take? Or do you need to buy it, like make a deal with you kind of shit? Because if it's free, I mean, I don't want to be accused of stealing somebody. Shit, I'm not a thief. And if it's, oh yeah, you can have all that crap for $5. We just don't, But if you ask one of the worker bees that can't make that decision, they're going to tell you to get bent, right? Because if they can't make the decision, they can't. It's not their fault. And I spent enough money at this local hardware store, mom and pop hardware store, yet I never apply for their rewards program. I don't need like an Ace hardware store credit card, at 36% interest. And I got some good news, folks. One of my patients that retired from the military too. Okay, he's on the AFES website, and now AFES is Army Air Force Exchange Service, and they have like programs with other like real stores, like bigger stores where you can get shit, but you pay the Air Force or the AFES military post exchange price, and you can get it shipped to you. The last time I looked on the AFES website was probably 21 years ago. And they didn't have that back then. But of course, it's a lot cheaper if you look at the store, and then you look at what it is through the the military retail store. Call it the exchange, Army Air Force Exchange Service, whatever other call it. To go to the exchange. I know it sounds like a 1700s term, but that's where you would go shopping for like clothes and shit on base, or call it the PX, the post exchange. I'm used to saying post exchange, but not every garrison is a post, okay? But whatever. Like for the Air Force that are on bases, it's Oh, we're at the BX, the base exchange. And it's something with the Marine Corps involves a crayon, I'm sure. I'm not quite, what's the deal with that? Okay, no, it's a Navy exchange. Because there's Great Lakes that I've gone to a few times. But the prices up there, I mean, they're high. And they did sell like firearms, but they were all shotguns. And I'm not a shotgun person. And I got to see if the ammo's cheaper than buying it at Ammo Seek. But they did have ammo. It's just because they're feds, they still have to respect each state's laws in regards to shipment of ammo and stuff. And that's always a fine line because some of the laws of the states, they violate the Second Amendment. But at the same time, you want to say if you're pro-state rights, but at that point where the state starts violating your rights as a national citizen, then you go back to saying, well, it's the state's right to do that. But it's not the state's right. If, in my opinion, the state should have be the working agent that gives the citizen, and that's not even give, okay, because we don't take from the government. The Second Amendment is not about giving. I should say the word expand. I think the state should expand the rights of citizens, due process, First Amendment, Second Amendment rights. But yeah, it seems like they want to suppress them. Okay, I don't like being suppressed. Except when I'm shooting. And there's sometimes that's just the way it is. I can't eat this whole thing. I'm feeling it. But I'll eat as much as I can. I have no idea what today's gonna look like. Patient-wise, I was off yesterday. Some issues. Scheduled to be off anyway. And I put out any fire that I had before I left. But when I say fire, patients come in with some last minute shit. I have 2 days left of my medicine, but I've had this, and now it's become my problem that I need to shit out some medicine for a patient. And we're here. We're here. Remember back in the day, in the 80s, with all the MTV VJs, And then, of course, the one guy from Guam, I think he was from Guam, he passed away. But all the other VJs are now work on Sirius XM, except Martha, Martha Quinn. She, I guess, worked for a while on Sirius and then went her separate ways. I don't know why. But how many decades is that going to last before it's like, you know, those are old people. They can't be on XM radio. If you think about it, 1985 was 40 years ago. Okay. And in 1985 was 1945, which was 40 years ago. Which was still the big band era, before Elvis. But yet, I think because of the timeline of the 80s and how it comes back and it's popular again. Like my daughter sings songs from the 80s. Granted, that's pretty much what we listen to as grown-ups. But she knows certain songs that from whatever she does now that were from the 80s. Good times, good times. I think now the youngest Gen Xer, the youngest living Gen Xer, to me, Gen X ended at 85, okay? No, 79, not 85. I was born in 71. To me, the Gen Xers were 65 to 79. So the youngest Gen Xers are in their late 40s now, pushing 50. I was born in 71. So the youngest ones are in their late 40s. I'm in my parking lot at work, sitting in my car because I want to eat the rest of this hamburger meat. Don't want it to go bad. Sometimes patients think that because they can see me, that I'm obligated to talk to them in the parking lot. Mind me, I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. It's wrong that I like to have my time when I'm doing what I got to do. I don't think non-medical people don't get it. When you see like your doctor at the grocery store or some shit, one, don't acknowledge them. Two, if you do, say hi and go on your merry way. Don't call them out by their title. Just let them be. Everyone has a life to live. Well, what's the deal here? So when I grew up, okay, as a soldier, We were taught, or never to use an umbrella because it's not soldierly like. So I don't really like umbrellas. I'd rather get wet. I'm wondering what the hell that guy's dropping off. Maybe he's bringing a fit test. Who knows? Well, we'll turn that off. Oh, look, there's another Jeep Gladiator. Somebody at work has a Jeep Gladiator. It's got to be one of the people that works in the call center. We have one of the call centers now at my clinic. And I thought it was going to be so noisy, but it's not because they wear headphones, so you don't hear the patient talk. It's not bad, except they hug up the bathroom now. I thought menopausal women didn't have to pee as much, but I guess not. So it's Wednesday. Well, Dementia does his 1 day a week clinic over at Jesse Brown, working in the palliative care. So he's not here today. Dr. Nanda should be here. Although I never see her, so she's all the way across the clinic. And for some reason, she keeps to herself now. Seems like with that team, okay, they've gone through 6 providers on that team since I started working here. And she was at the clinic as a provider prior to that. She counted one of those 6 and she came back. I don't know what the dimensionality is with that team, why it's people don't want to stay. I got my reasons. I already know why, okay? Do you want to know why? Because on that team is where the majority of the women in the clinic are seen. And a lot of times they over-exaggerate their symptoms. I said it. Expecting us to treat over-exaggerated symptoms. Where is this guy going? He just left his engine on, going to the clinic. Maybe he wants his car stolen. I don't know. I mean, hell, there are days I forget to lock my door too. I don't leave the engine running. Well, Folks, we're going to call it a day. So, Burn Prepper out.